As you can see here in our example expression, it is composed of parts connected by a plus or minus sign. These parts are called terms. Okay. In our given expression, we have a total of 3 terms. Then, when we focus on each term, let's distinguish each part of this term. So you can see this term 3ab is the product of 3a and b. And these are called the factors of this term. Now, this number 3 here is called a numerical coefficient. Sorry. While the letters here called variables because their values are still unknown. So they can be any number. So their value may vary. So in a given expression, there are variables, and the real number on that term is called, or a factor on a term which is a real number, yun naman ang tinatawag nating numerical coefficient. How about if in an expression where there is a real number and there's no variable? For example, x plus y plus 2. So, ang tawag naman natin dito sa term na to, which is real number only and hindi siya minumultiply sa x or y. So, ang tawag naman natin doon ay constant. Constant. So, that's it. For exponents, so if a number is raised to a certain amount, such as, say here, a is to be raised by 3, ang equivalent niyan ng isang number na merong exponent, by the way, ang tawag pala dito sa a natin, siya yung base, na kung saan siya yung value na nire-raise mo to a certain value. Okay, siya yung base. At yung ito namang 3, ang tawag naman natin dyan ay yung exponent. Okay? Ang equivalent ng a raised to 3 ay a times a times a. Kumbaga, imumultiply mo siya sa sarili niya 3 times. So, yun yung meaning ng exponent, or you will raise it to a certain power. You're just going to multiply it to itself to a certain number of times. Okay? By the way, if a number doesn't have an exponent, o meron kang dun sa expression natin, may letter, say 5a squared b c raised to 3. If it has no exponent, it means that it is understood that its exponent is 1. So we need not to write it. Next. Addition and subtraction of similar terms. To add or subtract similar terms, we're going to do is just first add or subtract their coefficients. This will give the coefficient of the sum difference, which will be similar or to be added or subtracted terms. Kunyari, meron tayong dalawang term. Okay? Para natin masabi na similar yung term, dapat parehas yung variable natin. For example, meron tayong 2x plus y plus 3x. Okay? So, to identify here what are similar terms, dapat tingnan mo muna yung kanilang variable kung parehas. Ang variable natin, mga variables natin dito x, y, x. So, ang parehas dito na term, like terms are 2x and 3x. So, ito ang pwede nating i-add or i-subtract. Depende dun sa sign na meron yung ating sasagutan. So, let's add 2x and 3x. So, to add similar terms, all we need to do is simply copy the variable x. Kakopy lang natin yan. Copy. Kasi parehas sila. And add the coefficient. 2 plus 3 is 5. Tapos, copy na lang yung y plus y. So, yan yung sagot. How about this one? Another example. X squared plus 2x plus 5 plus 2x squared. So, alin naman dito ang like terms? Ang like terms dito ay ito. Parehas na variable. At parehas din yung exponent ng variable mo. Yun ang like terms. Ito, pwede nating i-combine. X squared and 2x squared. So, we will add them. X squared plus 2x squared. We need just to copy the variable x squared and add the coefficient 2 and ilan to? 1. 1 yan. Okay? Kapag yung isang term walang nakalagay na coefficient, understood na yon na meron siyang value na 1. Okay? So, 1 plus 2 is 3. 3x squared and copy. Kasi wala nang ibang magkaparehas na term. Okay? 3x squared plus 2x plus 5. For the multiplication of terms, if we have to multiply two numbers having the same base, a, but different value for their exponents, we can just simply copy the base and add the exponents of the two. So for example, if x raised to 2 is to be multiplied by x raised to 3, ang makukuha nating sagot dyan ay x raised to 2 plus 3 or x raised to 5. Okay. So kapag naman ang minumultiply natin na terms ay magkaiba ng variable at magkaiba rin ang kanilang coefficients as well as their exponents, okay, we have to multiply first their numerical coefficient. Then, after that, let's multiply the variables as I explained here on this example. 3a times 5b. So, magkaiba yung variable nila, a and b. So, hindi magkaparehas kahit hindi natin pwedeng combine yung a and b. So, we can just simply multiply first the numerical coefficient. 3 times 5 is 15 and copy a and b. Pagtabihin natin. Okay. So, that's how we simplify the product of two terms. Okay. Another example, 3x squared times 4y raised to 5. So, nangyayari dyan, hindi sila like terms, but by multiplication, pwede nating makombine terms. So, multiply the numerical coefficients. 3 times 4 is 12. Then x squared, copy y raised to 5. So, yan na yung term na yun kapag minultiply natin yung dalawa. Yan, kung babalikan natin yung multiplication of two terms with same base, same variable, same base, just like this, negative 2a squared times negative 7a squared. Multiply first their numerical coefficient. Ang numerical coefficient natin dito ay negative 2 and negative 7. So, parehas negative, magiging positive yung sign niya. 14. Copy the base a. So, we have an exponent of 2 and 2. So, 2 plus 2 is 4. That's the answer. For the power of terms, okay, if a number that has an exponent is raised to a certain number or to a certain value, ang mangyayari naman dito ay imumultiply natin yung number na nire-raise natin dun sa number na merong exponent. So, if a raised to m is to be raised by n, imumultiply natin siya. Is equals to a raised to m times n. So, huwag tayo malilito na dun sa product ng product of numbers that has exponents a raised to m times a raised to n, ang kalalabasan na sagot nito ay yung sum nung dalawang exponent, a raised to m plus n. Pero pag dating dito, kapag i-raise mo yung isang number, okay, imumultiply mo siya. Kasi yung iba dito na kakamali, nalilito. The same way, if we have two numbers with the same exponent, we can group them and raise it to that exponent. So, igrupo mo lang yung a and b. So, kumbaga parang finactor out mo yung exponent mo na m. Okay? Next. Division of terms. For division of terms, if a raised to n divided by a raised to n, the equivalent of that is a raised to m minus n. Okay? So, isusubtract natin yung exponent nila. So, dun sa multiplication of terms, i-add natin. Pero pagdating sa division, isusubtract natin yung exponents ng a. So, ang requirement natin dyan, dapat parehas yung kanilang, yung base ng ating exponent. So, kapag parehas yung base ng exponent, tapos dinivide mo, we can just simplify it by writing a raised to the difference of n and n. Okay? So, to divide terms, divide the numerical coefficient of the dividend by that of the divisor to obtain the numerical coefficient of the quotient. Example, we have 8a raised to 8 divided by 2a raised to 2. So, una muna natin gagawin ay i-divide yung 8 sa 2 o yung numerical coefficient ng term na to, ng term na yan, ng divisor at dividend. So, 8 divided 2 is 4. And we will just copy the base a and we will subtract 8 by 2. So, isasubtract lang natin yung numerator by the denominator o yung exponent ng numerator sa exponent ng denominator. 8 minus 2. Therefore, we have an answer of 4a raised to 6. Symbols of grouping. The symbols used here in algebra are parentheses, brackets, and braces. So they are used in grouping certain numbers. And as to their arrangement, mas mas binibigyan natin ng pansin muna yung nasa parenthesis. So, yun yung ipaprioritize mo. Then, sumunod yung nasa bracket. Then, yung nasa braces. Yun yung pasunod-sunod. Okay? When an expression is composed of a sum of terms, is enclosed with symbols of grouping which are preceded by a plus sign, the symbols may be removed without changing the value of the expression. So, dyan, kapag meron tayong, kunyari, expression na 3a plus b minus 5. Okay? Sabi dito, when an expression composed of a sum of terms, which is this one, this is sum of terms. Sum of terms siya, kaya lang yung 5 natin negative yung kanyang sign. Is enclosed within symbols of grouping which are preceded by a plus sign. The symbols may be removed without changing the value of the expression. So, it is preceded by a positive sign. Yung grouping natin na 3a plus b minus 5. Okay? Plus sign yung sign natin dito sa grouping na to. Tapos, yung nasa grouping daw natin ay sum lang naman ng terms. Therefore, we can just remove the grouping and just copy the values inside that grouping. So, plus b minus 5. Another. An expression composed of a sum of terms may always be enclosed within symbols of grouping preceded by a plus sign, the sign of every term being retained. Example, we have x minus y plus z. Sabi dito, composed of a sum of terms may always be enclosed within symbols of grouping preceded by a plus sign. So, kahit alin dyan, pwede mong i-enclose ng kahit anong ng symbol of grouping. So, we can enclose x minus y, z. We can enclose x plus negative y plus z. We can enclose x minus y plus z. Ayaw na pala. X plus z negative y. Okay? Just retain the symbols, the signs. An expression composed of a sum of terms enclosed within a symbol of grouping which are preceded by a minus sign, the symbol may be removed provided the sign of the term is changed. Example ulit. Meron tayong 4x minus 3y minus z plus 2. So if a grouping is preceded by a negative sign, if we want to remove the grouping symbol, all we need to do is change the symbols for each term within that grouping. So, magiging negative 3y, magiging positive z, ito magiging negative 2. An expression composed of a sum of terms may be enclosed in the symbols of grouping with a minus sign prefix provided the sign of every term enclosed is changed. Example, meron tayong a plus b minus c. If we want to introduce grouping wherein it is preceded by a minus sign or it is prefixed by a minus sign, all we need to do is change the sign that is inside that grouping. Kunyari, gusto kong i-group itong B and C, A, gusto kong prefix na sign ay negative sa grouping na yun, kailangan ko lang gawin ay palitan yung sign nito. Negative B, at yung negative C mo, magiging positive na siya. Same way, kung gusto nating i-group yung A and B, we have negative A, negative B, minus C. So, kapag gusto naman nating i-group yung A and C, nangyari naman ay quantity, negative quantity of A, negative A, plus C, plus B. Okay. A quantity multiplying or dividing an expression within symbols of groupings multiplies or divides every term within the symbol. Example, 4x plus 2 times 5y minus 3z. Okay? We can eliminate the grouping by simply multiplying, or we can recall kanina yung distributive law of multiplication with respect to addition. So, dito yon applicable para ma-remove natin yung grouping at mas ma-simplify pa natin siya. Okay? Plus 10, kasi 2 times 5y. Again, kapag i-multiply natin yung dalawang term, kapag merong real numbers dun sa number na yon, dun sa terms na yon, i-multiply natin yung coefficients nila. 2 times 5, 10. Copy the variable. 2 times negative 3z. Copy the sign. And we will have 6z. So, yun na. Next. An expression composed of more than one term is a polynomial or multinomial. Okay. Example, we have x or 5x. If this is our expression, which is composed only of one term, this is a monomial. Next, if you have x squared plus 5. So kung ito yung expression natin, dalawa ang kanyang terms, tawag naman doon ay binomial. Kapag tatlo, trinomial. At kapag more than one term or more than 3 yung ating terms sa isang expression, ang tawag na doon ay polynomial or multinomial.